holiday cheer or holiday con, how scammers strike when you're most vulnerable. This is RomConned, where love and true crime collide. 'Tis the season for deception. The holidays are marketed as cozy, romantic, and magical, but they're also one of the most dangerous times of the year for emotional manipulation, romance scams, and relationship red flags. Because some people don't want love. They want access to your heart, your money, your home, your holiday plans. And in the middle of twinkle lights and champagne, we miss the warning signs.
Between Thanksgiving and Valentine's Day, the romance scams actually surge. Loneliness increases and boundaries soften. And predators, as you can imagine, whether emotional or criminal, take full advantage of it.
So today, we're breaking it down. The holiday dating traps, the red flags, the safety strategies. This is your real-time guide to staying safe, sane, and scam-proof during the most romantic season of the year. Romance scammers call this time of year the sweet spot because people are lonely, hopeful, nostalgic, and more vulnerable to emotional manipulation. Joy lowers defenses. Loneliness heightens desire. And together, they create opportunity. So, we're breaking down the holiday RomConned playbook, how scammers use Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, travel, and gift giving to exploit your heart, your wallet, and your trust. Here's the holiday pattern. During the holidays, romance scammers escalate faster. They create stronger emotional bonding. They future fake harder, and they financially extract more aggressively. Scammers use the illusion of romance to blur the reality of fraud. It's psychological. People crave connection in November and December, and scammers weaponize that. Dr. Alex, is this something that you've been seeing in the criminal world?
Absolutely. In criminology, we often say that anytime between December 1 and really about mid-January, it's not only the sweet spot for these rom-coms, but it's also the time that people burglarize the most, that we see that there are scammers out there, trying to get your money, your credit card, your wallet. And so what we see here is almost like the criminal understands that there's this social pressure, even for them, to be able to produce goods. And how they do so is by taking advantage of people during an incredibly vulnerable time. As you noted earlier, this is the sweet spot that they find. This is the area where they know that we all want to fall in love. We all want to be with our families. We all want to have the white Christmas. And so the romanticism that goes into that sphere, the planification stage, really obscures the person from being on guard about what these scam artists are doing behind the scenes.
It's interesting because you said that all of these crimes are going up. So people, the wallets, the credit cards, the break-ins. I mean, I guess also you're going to holiday parties. You're probably wearing your nice things. You are coming home late. You might not be of complete clear mind when you get home. And all of that is putting you at risk. It also is making those people who are feeling a little bit sad, a little bit vulnerable, a little bit lonely, who might come home from a holiday party. And I got a message from someone who is interested in me. And then all of a sudden they start communicating and they fall into one of these holiday scams that maybe on a normal day in April, they wouldn't fall into because they're not in that moment of vulnerability, in those late night moments of decreased resistance when you allow more things to come in.
Yeah, I intentionally used the word or the words, the social pressure that we're under because of the fact that, think about the fact that you go to a Christmas party, of your colleagues, and you're the only person by yourself. Everybody else shows up with dates, everybody else shows up with their spouse, and you're by yourself sitting in a corner or trying to talk to the 2 or 3 single people that are in the room. And then you go back home, reinforcing that loneliness that perhaps you were able to hide throughout the year. But all of a sudden you find yourself at home at 2 o'clock in the morning, with a glass of whiskey, or brandy, enjoying that moment by yourself, thinking, gee, I wish you would have had somebody that I would have been able to dance with, or did you see so-and-so that was so happy? And so that loneliness, it really becomes almost institutionalized by the social pressures that are happening during that time. And that forces the potential victim to go out there and try to find someone. And
Yep.
because of that, it's that we see this sort of trend, and bad guys know it, right? Bad guys know that there are a lot of very successful and lonely people that are going to be vulnerable to their tricks during that time, and that perhaps in June or July, they wouldn't have been paying attention to
Right.
certain things, but now they just want to fall in love. They just want to have somebody special. They want to bring that special person over for Christmas or for Thanksgiving to their families. And so because of that social pressure, they know they have a captive audience that is very distracted by emotions at that point.
So loneliness, sadness, and also openness are amplified because of the holiday season. And it's not only singles. It's also people who are in unhappy, unhealthy relationships who are going to that holiday party and they are arguing with their partner, or they see their partner flirting with somebody else, or whatever it is that's making them just not get along. I mean, the movie Love Actually, where, that's exactly what's happening. There's the holiday party and the guy's flirting with his assistant, and he goes and buys her presents, and the woman who is his longtime wife is sitting there feeling even more sad. And we start to notice more details of, well, they didn't give me a nice gift this year, or I wonder if they're giving a gift to somebody else. And then all of a sudden we're being open to other people. It's just the vulnerability, the holidays increase risk. And here's the truth. This amplification of whatever emotional need you already have. If you want connection, you'll justify red flags. If you want to avoid questions from your family, you'll make exceptions. If you want a magical Hallmark romance, you'll fall for love bombing. And predators know it. They use the season to accelerate intimacy, exploit nostalgia, and make themselves indispensable. And that is not romantic. That is a con.
Right. And then also there's a point of diminishing return. And what I mean by that is that people are actually out there, on guard, so they think, but they're not on guard on the tactics that they're going to be using during that time. For instance, the potential victim may look at the potential offender or the offender as someone that is also vulnerable, because they know that during that time they can speak with a soft tone and talk about how lonely they themselves are. So the perpetrator, in this case, the con artist, is using the very emotion that he or she is sensing in that other person and trying to reflect it so that then you can be inspired to go save that person from what you think is saving yourself from. In other words, it's a perfect storm for them, because they're like, well, yeah, this person is tired, this person is depressed, this person is sad. And then at the same time, I can express all of those things to that person. They'll be able to recognize it in me because they see it in themselves, and they're going to come rescue me. And boy, what a great time to do.
They're mirroring what we're feeling as opposed to what we're putting out. So they're going up to the single person saying, I bet they are feeling lonely. All right, I'm going to go up to them and be like, oh, I'm so sad, I'm so lonely. And then that person so the con man is saying, I'm so sad, I'm so lonely. And the other person is saying, me too. I'm so sad, I'm so lonely. Hey, why don't we come together? So now the victim is the one who feels like they are the aggressor. They're the one who's coming to them. And that this manipulation is just so scary.
Yeah. Well, and also remember too, there is a social obligation that many people feel that on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, they're going to give each other a gift. And so here's the inevitable, right? The inevitable opportunity for the con artist to say, oh, Laurel, I just been so lonely. I don't even know what to buy for myself anymore. But I just love those sweaters. I just love those jackets. And here you are thinking, this is the love of my life.
Oh my gosh,
like, this
I'm
guy
going to get them this.
This guy totally gets me, right? Like this guy in the past 20 days, we've been able to go to these holiday parties and we've been able to dance and have a great time. And he's so open and my friends love him, because now you have the audience of the party. You have the family that you don't see throughout the year that may actually, come to your town or come to your place. So you have all of those accessibilities where this con artist now knows I've got an audience that's going to give me history with her. I've got opportunities to do social events that I typically would have had to pay for. But now all I got to do is tag along with her because she needs a date. And I get to drink and eat for free. And then I get to charm all of her friends. And then what's going to happen on week number 3 as we near Christmas is I'm going to remind her, it's just been really hard for me economically in the past few months. But, I got to tell you, I just love this blazer that I saw at Brooks Brothers the other day. And it would just be great. Don't you think? Let's go see how it looks on me. Do you think it looks right on me? And then here is the gentle, kind soul that is the victim of the crime that begins to then put the pieces together and says, this poor guy.
Yeah.
He's just had misfortune, but this is it. This is the guy that I want to be with. And what a great time of year to do this. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and put that code on a credit card and I'm going to get it for him as a Christmas present. So what happens is you now have the event, the social obligation, the manipulation, and before you know it, the gift comes his way. And after the gift, perhaps he'll extend his repertoire until after December 31st.
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve, and then off he goes. He disappears.
Yeah.
This is not going to be the same person you're going to be with.
Well,
on January
Valentine's
20th.
Day then comes,
Well,
right?
perhaps. It may last that long.
But that's what they can be future faking,
Sure.
You're finally going to have, I've never had love on Valentine's Day. So it's this whole future faking as well. Okay, so let's break down the holiday dating red flags to look out for. Holiday cheer doesn't cancel red flags. If someone's story changes, especially repeatedly, that's not inconsistency. That is their strategy. So the holiday fast forward, that is, let's spend the entire week together. Let's meet our families. Let's take a trip. That is not romantic. That's control, controlling your mind and making you experience the illusion of family, the illusion of partnership, of a intense, deep relationship. And that way they're getting in there. Then the next is the seasonal boyfriend or girlfriend, where they show up for December and they disappear in January. Then gift, guilt, and pressure. They expect extravagant gifts, or they use gifts as leverage. Then secret for the season. They'll spend the night, but not give you a title or introduce you to their friends. The next is big feelings, no facts. Everything is dreamy and nothing adds up. Landed overseas, but I have a gift for you. So they call you, oh my gosh, I'm so sad, I can't see you. And I really had this beautiful gift for you. Dr. Alex, you were talking in a past episode about if someone is overseas and how that can really complicate things.
Sure. They're going to say, you know what, now with the tariffs and now with UPS and FedEx, they're so slow. I even paid extra. Or they may give you a tracking number that says that the product has been left at the local post office in Germany or wherever they are.
Yes.
But it never basically takes off, right? So in other words, they know how to manipulate the system. For all that you need to do is print the label out and get a tracking number that's never, ever going to be used, nor the mail carriers are ever going to carry a product because there is no product. But yet you keep on checking on your phone every other day that the beautiful dress that you were giving a picture of is never going to arrive. So, I mean, there are so many scams and it's so much easier to do that overseas.
Or that you just need to go to the airport and pay the tax or pay the tariff in order to have it released. If someone's giving you a gift, that does not mean that you have to pay anything. And this is something that I have seen a lot is, oh my gosh, I'm sending you this Rolex. And it is a $100,000 watch. You're going to love this. You just have to pay $5,000 in order to get it out. I mean, it's a $100,000 watch. I just have to pay $5,000. Okay. But where's that $5,000 going to? It's going to the scammer. So, these are things that you need to look out for. Then they can't video call, but they really want to send you presents. Sudden urgency involving money or logistics. They blame the holidays for chaos or inconsistencies. They avoid normal questions and they have zero accountability. They avoid meeting in person. It's always, I'm busy, I can't, I have this, I have that, I can't meet you in person. I really want to. Oh my gosh, this is so heartbreaking. I wanted to be with you on Christmas, or even come pick me up at the airport. And they never show because flight was canceled. I mean, and with the flights, there are a lot of flights that are being canceled for weather and also because a lot of flights are being canceled right now. So there are lots of opportunities to blame the chaos on other things when the fact is they were never planning on showing up in the first place.
You're right. Once they tap into your emotions, they're going to want you to tap into theirs. And what I mean by that is they're going to say, Christmas is always so hard for me because I get so depressed. And I remember, that my so-and-so used to give me such and such gifts to cheer me up.
Yeah.
Here comes the manipulation. So look out for the story that's going to come right as you get close to Christmas, and start doing the mathematical equation of what you're doing for that person and what that person is doing for you. And I hate to put it in terms of math because I know that the romantics, we always say, who cares about the money? It's a passing transactional thing versus the actual feelings that somebody may have for somebody else. But if you start putting it in that context, and you start adding and subtracting, and you start seeing a pattern, be on the lookout because you're just about to get conned in a way that you may not even know.
And these are those emotional money scams. As you're saying, oh my gosh, I really wanted to be with you for Christmas or for the holidays and I can't, and I'm so sad. And maybe if we have this thing that my mom used to buy me this, or I wanted to buy you that, or I wanted to do this together, but you can't even buy it for me because I'm over there. Why don't instead you just send me a Visa gift card? And then it's as if you're buying me the gift, but I'll buy it for myself. And I'm going to send you one too. But guess what? Yours is never going to come. They push this emotional intensity, and they might even be future faking for the new year. I'm so excited to finally spend New Year's Eve with you. I've never had someone to kiss on New Year's Eve. There's also fake charity scams that you need to be aware of, and fake deployment or work excuse scams, or the I want to send you a gift, but I need your address scams. What's going on? Because you seem to be a little bit unsure. Honestly, I don't know. There were some strange things that were happening, and I started asking questions, and I felt like his answers didn't align with how he portrayed himself. When something feels off, that's your intuition, bringing awareness to the fact that you have some questions. There's a website that I love called Truthfinder. Truthfinder can help us figure out if these are real red flags or if he's the real deal. We do a little bit of a background check. Truthfinder is a great way to simply deliver police records, arrest records, criminal records, speeding tickets, bankruptcy court records, voter registration data, social media handles, phone numbers, home addresses, email addresses, and possible relatives. And you know what we can learn from that? If he's actually married or if he's single. And you know what? While we're at it, it's not a bad idea to do a little search on you too, just to see what's out there, what people can find about you. You know what? I think it's a really good idea. This is going to give me so much more confidence dating. And I would like to do that search on me too. What if someone thinks that I'm fake? Dr. Alex, what is the danger of the address scam? If someone says, I want to send you a gift, I just need your address. What is the worst thing that could happen if someone had your home address and they know who you are?
Well, without trying to terrify the audience, I'll tell you that the worst thing that can happen by giving somebody an address is that person can show up and kill you, right? But the reality is that, with an address as it relates to financial crimes, they can use your address to order goods and services, and they can pick up those goods and services from your mailbox or even from your doorstep without you knowing it, because they know you work 8 to 5. And so they're going to have something delivered in a rush by 10 a.m. the next day. And when that item arrives at the doorstep without a signature being required, which in some cases you can waive that, then the bad guy will come in, pick it up, and off they go. And if you have a video of the bad guy doing that, so what? I mean, it makes it a nice, beautiful headline with your family, but it's not exactly like the FBI is going to go track this person down, regardless of what Rolex was actually stolen at your doorstep for. They're probably tracking down a lot more serious crimes than that.
Right.
And so there's that aspect of it. The other aspect of it is that they will always know where you are and who you are, but you will never know who they are. Right? Because there's not an even exchange of information, right? So it's not like I'm sharing with you my address and you're sharing with me your address. And so essentially, just like you can go to my house and inflict harm, I can go to yours and do the same. In this case, you have no idea who they are because they told you they're somebody that they don't exist. right? When you start putting it in a geolocation device like geo maps, it turns out to be a farm in Wisconsin that was abandoned 150 years ago, right?
Right.
And the only thing you find there is just cows and horses, and none of which, have anything to do with the physical address of somebody.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll use PO boxes, sometimes they'll use forwarding addresses. And so the point is, once you show them where you live, you have anchored yourself to the vulnerabilities that the 24-hour exposure shows in your home, in your children, anybody that lives in that house, anybody
Yeah.
that comes in and out of that home, that will permanently be a target for that individual. So it is incredibly important that you don't share an address unless you absolutely have to.
And what they're setting this up for is if they continue to scam you and then you find out and you say, get lost, kick rocks, not interested in you anymore, get away from me. And you know what they can say? I know where you live.
I know where you live.
Yep.
Right.
I mean, that was part of when I was RomConned and I had given the guy my address because he wanted to send me flowers. And when I found out that he was scamming me and I got back from England, I was terrified that he was hiding in the alley and I had to move because all of a sudden he created distrust in my own home. And that's what they want to do. They want to make you scared of everything, including your own shadow, including the sound of the cat outside, because I know where you live. So follow these practical safety rules to minimize your risk. Always, if you're going on a date with someone, if it's a first date, even if it's a second or third date, meet in public. That minimizes your risk if they don't know your address, right? If they're like, oh, come on, I would love to pick you up. It's so romantic for me to pick you up. It's the holiday season. I just got my car washed for you. What's your address? I'll come get you. You know what? Thank you so much. I would love to see that washed car in the valet at the restaurant. And then they don't have to drive you home after because they're going to do whatever they can to eke that address out of you. So don't let them. Don't share your location with them. If they say, well, just let me see where you are. I'm minutes away. Where are you? I want to make sure that we can meet at around the same time. But you do want to share your location with a friend and also tell them your destination before you go. Give your friend all of the information that you have about this person before you go and meet them so that your friend can be aware. Even if you aren't a little bit concerned, even if there are no red flags, it's just a great habit to get into of sharing your location with a friend, letting them know about the person who you're going on a date with. Then have your own transportation. If something happens, if you drink too much and you can't drive yourself home, you can Uber, you can get a taxi, you can call a friend. Don't accept a surprise trip from someone you barely know. That's something that they can pull also of, we had such a great first date. I want to take you on vacation for the holidays. I know it's spontaneous, but didn't you say that you love being spontaneous? So let's go on vacation together.
Yeah. And the other piece of this too is that, if somebody says to you, I really want to send you flowers. I really, really do. I just picked the most beautiful flowers at this beautiful store. And they just reminded me of you. Can you just not give me your address? I think one of the things that a lot of folks are doing these days, I know in the industry of security, is they go to their local post office or they go to a UPS store and they just basically rent a little PO box.
Yep.
And what they do is they'll say, you know what, just send it to my work address. And you can just say, in fact, some of these UPS stores, what they'll do is they'll put like a suite number on there, when in
Yep.
reality, it's just a mailbox. But, those folks can actually receive your arrangement if it's legitimate.
That's right.
But if the person means ill or is ill intent, they're going to show up and they're going to see a whole bunch of people in brown uniform handling boxes, which is clearly not going to be the residents that they're looking for.
Yep.
And so always find a point of neutrality, as you pointed out. But also, if you have to give an address, get an address that is a third-party address that will allow you to have a neutral place that you can simply just one day eliminate services and not necessarily expose yourself or your family to.
That's such a great point. I actually have a UPS box and they can accept anything. And it doesn't seem like a UPS box. It seems like a normal address. Mine says suite number, and that's actually my box number. And my UPS guy has told me that there have been numerous occasions where men have gone in and said, where's Laurel? I am here for Laurel. And they're like, Laurel doesn't live here. and they'll call me and they'll tell me who that person is who's sitting there waiting for me, demanding that they contact me. And this is someone who I have blocked, who I was afraid of, who I knew was stalking me. So that's definitely something that is really important of a practical safety rule to minimize your risk. Also, never send money. Ever. Just do not send money to people. Do not send intimate photos of yourself. There are a lot of holiday pressures that make people impulsive. They might send you a photo that they say is them, some sexy photo. And it's like, I sent you mine. So will you send me yours too? Just a little holiday gift? No, you're not going to send a sexy photo, because just like I know where you live, it's, hey, I have this sexy photo of you. You want me to release it? You can't say that. You can't do that. You can't. This is another way that they control you. If someone accuses you of ruining the moment because you have boundaries, that's manipulation. If you won't send a photo and they're like, gosh, you're such a prude, that's manipulation. So it is very important that you have these boundaries in order to keep yourself safe. You do not owe anyone holiday intimacy, gifts, sex, travel, or introductions just because they showed up with attention. Healthy people respect slow pacing. Predators punish it. So be aware of all of these things, especially during the holidays. And maybe listen to this show a couple of times, because if you're listening to it late at night, you might not be in a clear head. Listen to it when you're in a clear moment, so that you can really process everything that we're saying, because it's the moments of weakness when we let things go. It's the moments of strength when we have to prepare, make decisions in those moments of strength, and then stick with those decisions, stick with those boundaries in your moments of weakness. That's when you go back to, oh, but that's right. In that moment of strength, I made the decision that this was going to be my boundary. So right now I can feel that I'm in a moment of weakness. So I need to stick with that boundary.
Right. And I also think that, there are people that you may know and then mention to this person, right, that they can use as anchors as well. So for instance, hey, I met you through Paul, or I met you through Amy. And so maybe both of you have a common friend. And sometimes that gives us a false sense of security, because somehow Amy knows them or knows her, and therefore she must be safe. Or I met her at church. It was one of my favorite ones that I used to always tell my students when they were, majoring in criminology. I used to always tell them that one of the biggest, scams that I think has existed for some time is when you go to a bar and you meet somebody and that person says to you, oh, well, don't you remember I met you at church? And then it may be legitimate that you met that person at church. And so somehow you think that because they go to church, that they must be safe, right? That we don't do background checks at churches, right? So the point is that there are those issues that come up. The other piece of this too, which I think is crucial, is that if you give that person enough, they will take everything and then some.
Yep.
And what I mean by that is in terms of information, right? Think of it this way. And I don't want people to really watch our show and say, well, these two people are haters of romanticism and they're haters of love and of the love story, because they want us to do, a background check on everybody we meet and all of that. And that's certainly not our intention. Our intention is to make sure that, as you've said before in previous shows, we want to make sure that people use their brain when they're actually doing this, and especially in the early stages of a relationship, right? Because we know that there are sadly, so many of these scam artists out there that are really provoking a dialogue and working so hard to get to your heart so that they can get to your wallet. And so in the end, what we want is, look, if you find the right person, good for you. I mean, that's awesome, right? But make sure that the right person is in for the right reasons, because you could have the right person in for the wrong reasons. And that also goes into this whole concept of why the holidays are so crucial and vulnerable. And that's because there's this public pressure. I mean, look, we are inundated. I mean, after Thanksgiving weekend, we are inundated by these ads about buying your loved one a ring.
Yes.
The same ads from last year, right? Except maybe glorified.
Yeah.
You're looking at the couple that walks down, Manhattan and is surrounded by snow in Central Park. And I mean, who doesn't want that for their lives, right? And so you're inundated by these ads, by the movies that come out, by the family pressures, by all of those things, that those that are lonely are lonelier during this time. And so, as I mentioned earlier, it creates that pressure that gives you a sense that I must make something work for me, even if it's something temporary. And I think
Yeah.
that that's the vulnerability that we're talking about here.
And this is all part of the playbook of the romance conner. So let me just go over a couple of things that they might do to you. They might do the holiday loneliness love bombing. They say things like, the holidays make me realize how much I want a partner, or you're the only person I want to talk to on Christmas. They're manufacturing intimacy through seasonal vulnerability. Another is, I'm overseas for work. I'm so sorry, I'm not going to be able to make it. This is a Christmas emergency. They're on a mission, or they have a deployment. They're on an oil rig. They have a sudden remote job they have to do. And suddenly there's crisis. They request money so that they can pay for travel, customs fees, stolen luggage. It's a holiday disaster. There are so many emergencies. There are sick relatives. There are unexpected bills. Then the gift card con. They can't receive packages, but they can use bank accounts. So they ask for gift cards. Amazon, Apple, Google, Visa, MasterCard, American Express. It doesn't matter what it is. This is 100% scam behavior. Or it's the perfect gift setup of, I bought you something, but there's a shipping problem. Then number 4, fake travel plans or holiday travel crisis. I bought a ticket to see you. They claim to be flying to see you and then miss their flight, get detained, have a stolen passport, need money for a new ticket. This is psychological anchoring, getting you emotionally prepared for them to arrive, and then they don't. Your heart's broken. You're more invested. Number 5, New Year's Eve pressure. Predators know everyone wants a date on New Year's Eve. So they escalate quickly. They rely on that loneliness, that hope, and that equals compliance. Then the emergency sob story, the family tragedy. There's an urgent need for funds. So why are we missing these red flags? Why are we falling prey to the con man's playbook? Because the holidays amplify hope. We want connection, and we allow caution to go to the wind. And the predators, they count on this. So we need to be even more careful. So it's really important that you take these holiday precautions to heart, because right now, if you're single, if you're not in a good relationship, even if you are in a happy relationship, predators are out there. They are ready to pounce, and we want to keep you protected. Holidays don't create red flags. They just make them sparkle. Listen to your mind, heart, and intuition, not your loneliness. Slow down, pay attention, and remember, real love feels grounding, not chaotic. If someone only appears when you're vulnerable, that's not romance, that's strategy. And if someone pressures you to move faster than you feel, they're not looking for love. They're looking for access. Stay aware, stay empowered, and have a safe holiday season. This is RomConned, where love and true crime collide.